How do I F31 forgive my partner, M34, for leaving me to go overseas on a pre-planned trip while I was having a miscarriage? This is my first post ever and I'm needing some advice. Please be kind. It's also going to be a bit of a novel. I'm sorry. Background context. My F31 partner. M34 received an incredibly thoughtful and generous gift of plane tickets for his birthday from his parents to visit his brother and family in Australia for a long weekend. We live in New Zealand. It's a much-needed break for him, and he's been needing some time with his brother, ill and nibblings. Everything was all good and well, however, life got in the way with a few big moments. The first being, the date they had booked for was around my partner's brother's birthday, which sadly fell onto the first anniversary of my granddad passing. A thing to note is I was incredibly close with my granddad, and so was my partner. My partner had a discussion with his parents around whether the tickets could be changed to a different date. It was near impossible as they had purchased non-refundable tickets. All fine. Then he asked if it was possible for me to drive my partner to the airport instead of them. And this is where the tension started with his parents. I personally wasn't there, so all I have to go on what my partner has told me. And he said his mom became oddly pushy and stated that she had sympathy for whatever I was going through, but she was taking her son to the airport and I couldn't be there. Okay, a bit odd, but again, fine. Then 2 weeks before he's due to leave, I receive news that my dad has a complex mutation of leukemia, and the doctors say they aren't able to do anything for him without shortening the life expectancy he has left. This again led to another discussion around changing the dates, so we could all be with Dad on Granddad's anniversary, given it will be the only anniversary we'll share with him due to his illness. Again, the response was, while we feel sympathy and want to know what's going on with her dad, we're still pushing for you to go on this trip away. Okay, we get it. He's going on the trip. Now leading into what's happening currently, earlier this week, I took a pregnancy test, and it was faintly positive. I was so excited and scared to believe it was real, as I have fertility struggles, and didn't think this would be possible. After telling my partner, we decided to take another test, and instead of the standard tests we usually get, we purchased a digital one and tested a couple of days later and sadly came back with a negative test result. Hope crushed, believing it may have been a false positive, and I ended up getting my period last night, which was a lot more heavier and painful than usual. Now, as mentioned, I've had fertility struggles and as such have been going through pre-fertility treatment testing and happen to have a complete blood work done this week, as well as reproduction hormones and thyroid tests. Today's the day my partner flies out, and I received a call from my doctor to discuss my blood results, and she advised that a couple of the tests indicated I was pregnant, and she wanted me to have a HCG blood test done to confirm the other tests' indication. I then had to tell her about the pregnancy tests and getting my period that was heavier than normal, to which she replied that I likely had a pregnancy and am now miscarrying. I'm shook. I didn't think more could be thrown at me while I'm grieving the loss of my granddad and soon-to-be loss of my dad. When I was told this, I thought I need to talk with my partner about this immediately, and then I doubted my need to talk to him about it because he was leaving on a trip, and I didn't want him to have this on his mind, but at the same time, I knew he wouldn't forgive me if I let him leave without telling him. So I spoke to my partner and told him what the doctor said, why we had the positive test then a negative one, and why my bleeding is heavier and more painful than normal. And his reaction was as expected. He was upset and sorry, but he was also saying how sorry he was while speeding around the house trying to pack his bag because his parents would be there in an hour to take him to the airport. I don't know what it was, but the gravity of the whole situation hit me, and I said some things I'm not proud of, but I feel are also true. I said I didn't think he cares about this because he can't even give me the time to talk about it. I went further to say that while he gets to be over there, I'll be here miscarrying our baby by myself, and he doesn't think enough of me or this pregnancy I'm passing to stay behind and help me through this. I'm not proud of hurting him with my words, and I know they hurt him, but I'm also so scared of finishing this on my own, and I felt hurt that he was trying to pack his bags to escape, while also trying to comfort me in a situation I've never been through before. In the end, I needed to leave, said goodbye, and wished him a safe flight. I have been sitting at the beach grieving, crying, thinking, writing, and I've come to the conclusion that I'm not sure this is something I can forgive him for leaving me alone to pass this pregnancy by myself, and yet I feel selfish at the same time because I know he needed this break too. I'm confused, overwhelmed, sad, heartbroken, and angry. I love him so much. We've been together to hell and back and have always had each other's backs. But this is too much right now. Has anyone been through something similar, or has any advice for how to get through the grief but also forgive my partner? Maybe I'm overthinking everything and having expectations that aren't fair to him. Update: hi all, I wrote the previous post in an elevated state of emotion and vulnerability, and after some much-needed sleep, I have a little clarity and would like to add a bit of context based off some of the comments, questions that have been mentioned. We've been together for 7 years. Did we have suspicions of miscarrying? On a conscious level, no. We only suspected we'd be pregnant even after the negative test, due to symptoms I was feeling and because my period was almost 2 weeks late. We had plans to retest the next week. On a subconscious level, and as a woman though, when your period comes late and is different than normal, a part of you naturally wonders whether what's going on. Was it unfair to unload on him an hour before he was being picked up? Completely unfair. Though in my defense, I had just hung up the phone from the doctor when he walked in the door from work to pack. I didn't have any time to process, and I also knew he wouldn't forgive me for not saying anything before he left. He confirmed he wouldn't have forgiven me if I had chosen not to say anything either. Did I ask him to stay? Not until it hit me in the moment what was happening to my body. I never asked him to stay for my granddad's anniversary or when my dad's diagnosis came. Only tried to find an alternative date for this trip that overlapped granddad's anniversary, and when that couldn't happen, tried to compromise on dropping him off at the airport, and admittedly, I'm at a loss with how that one went. He is too. Did my partner's parents know about my granddad's anniversary? Ultimately, yes. My granddad passed away on my BIL, their oldest son's, birthday. Something to add here is my partner and I were in Australia for BIL birthday when we had to fly back early to plan my granddad's funeral. Do I isolate my partner? I don't believe so. I believe in setting boundaries when needed, but I've never asked him to sacrifice time with his family, unless absolutely necessary. And even then, it's not an ultimatum that should be recklessly handed out. Sunday is his family day, and he spends the day with his parents and grandma. Sometimes I join and sometimes I don't. I have family too, and we try our best to work with both sides. Do my partner's parents and I have issues with each other? Honestly, before this situation, I would have said no. Now I have no idea. We've always gotten along well. They've been incredible to us, and they were a massive help to us financially while we were planning my granddad's funeral and arranging his estate. Has since been paid back. I don't believe the tickets were bought in a malicious way to separate us or anything. They apologized when they first gave him the tickets and mentioned they couldn't afford a second set for myself. It's not something I hold against them. My partner needed a break and he misses his brother and nibblings, and I think this was their way of helping him achieve that. It's how they acted when they realized that it would impact our lives that left me disappointed with them. Why does my partner need a break? Short answer: life, work. Deeper answer: when we left Australia early because of my granddad's passing, it broke a part of him to leave his family behind, and while he would never change his decision for leaving early to support me in my granddad's death, he never really recovered. I believe his parents were trying to give him that time again. He also works hard to provide for us. He's supported me for almost the last 2 years while I have been recovering from complications of a concussion head injury. Story for another time, perhaps. He was burning out and needed a break. What hell and back have we been through? The last 7 years have been a wild ride for us, and if I can get through this, then I may share some stories. For those of you that have said I shouldn't be feeling this way given how early it was, or I should be thankful this wasn't further along, or that the title is misleading. I agree there is a difference in regards to how far along you are and the severity for every individual who has gone through this. However, comparing how traumatic it is for any woman in this situation, no matter how far along, is disgusting. A miscarriage at any stage is still a miscarriage, and a loss is still a loss. Also, we've been trying 5 out of the 7 years we've been together to conceive, and this is the first time we've had any indication of a pregnancy. It's devastating. Would I have known I was miscarrying had my doctor not confirmed it? I live with PCOS and endometriosis. I have horrendous, painful, and heavy periods every 6 weeks, and this is different to that. Given the amount of blood, fluids, and clots that are coming out of me, I would have made the assumption and made contact with my doctor. Why am I not in hospital? Because they can't do anything for me. It's already happening. Is my partner a mummy's boy? Number, he's not. He does, however, have a mum who grew up an only child and rarely hears the word no. When he was given the tickets, the first thing he said was, "Thank you." The second thing he said was, "This is the first anniversary for Granddad." The third was work, and if he even had leave, as he has only recently started in his new role. He doesn't always agree with some actions his mum takes, and he does put boundaries in for us. Just not this time, unfortunately. Is my partner cheating? Number. It's not in his character, and he has trauma around being cheated on by his ex-fiancé. For the few who have said my dad is ill and not terminal, he has a complex leukemia that isn't treatable. He won't have a chance to go through chemo or a bone marrow transplant, as the risk of him not making it to 100 days after chemo or transplant is too high. He is terminal and only has months left. Comments about being a fake post or how I write. This is how I've always written. I'm sorry? If you think it's fake, that's your opinion, and I don't care to change it. For those beautiful angels out there who have given genuine responses of support, kindness, and hope, that there is forgiveness. Thank you. I realize after making this post that my partner has been there for me in every way that counts, and unfortunately couldn't be here this time. That doesn't mean it's an easy thing to forgive, but it gives me hope that there can be forgiveness. I recognize my question should have been, is there forgiveness after? Instead of how to forgive. For now, though, I'm going to take care of myself and talk to my partner once he returns. Maybe I'll update after that. Thank you again to those who gave genuine responses of support and kindness. I see you. For those of you who don't know how to be kind to another human being during tough times, kindly suck a dick. For those of you I see standing up for me against the ones kindly sucking dick, thank you. You're the kind of humans everyone needs in their lives. I see you.